It's 5:31 on December 10th, 2024. This is the public hearing for the proposed 2025 Northeast Kingdom Waste Management District budget. We do have currently nobody attending online, but we do have two individuals from Easy Trash.
Yeah, from Easy Trash, yes.
And your name?
Neil Bird.
And is that B-U-R-D?
Yes.
Fred Harris. Okay. So if you have comments on the budget or any questions or whatever, now's the time to.
We just wasn't quite sure how it worked. We just wanted to listen and we didn't know if we could before we started.
So, we're required in our charter to have two public hearings for the budget every year. We had one before the November meeting. Got Trash and NEK Rubbish attended that meeting. Had some comments about the increase in the surcharge. Steve Gray from Lindenville also attended that meeting. And that was pretty much it. I do have, there's a recording of that meeting and also took notes of that meeting. And, unless you guys have any other questions or comments, this meeting will be open for an hour, but last time the other folks were here, like right when it began, like you are tonight, but I don't have a presentation or anything. It's basically an opportunity if you've looked at the budget to comment on anything, or so if you have questions.
I'm not quite sure.
I think it was mostly the following. So
It was just a budget on it.
yeah, and the paying
The budget
versus
was,
taxpayers.
yeah. How the budget is all broke down.
Yeah.
So you have a copy of the budget?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No specific questions then on the?
Other than that, but we just want to come up and see.
Yeah.
See
No,
what was going on and get more involved,
Yeah.
because if we know the next person who buys me out, I can,
Right.
if they don't, or not in right now, we can, pass the.
Right.
Yeah, and that was one thing I emphasized to the couple of haulers who attended last time was, we have monthly meetings and you're more than welcome to attend any of those.
Right.
And you don't have to come in person. You can do that over the computer.
Right.
Because we typically have a couple of board members who do attend in person. And as you can tell, this space will get kind of crowded.
Right.
But, if we need to make more room, we'll make more.
Oh,
room.
yeah.
I got a non-budget question.
Sure.
Okay, so I work for Easy Trash, obviously. I'm also starting my own hauling thing. How do we as my own hauler get registered with you guys?
Just come in, ask Michelle for the paperwork and she'll give it to you. There's no cost
All right.
to register. And you could talk to Fred about what it involves. It's basically a monthly
It's helped me
tracking.
out a lot.
Yeah.
This already.
He's already got everything.
Yeah.
else.
Oh, okay.
We're all golden.
Secretary of State, everything all the way.
Oh,
down.
good. So you've got the state permit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you done in East Haven?
We're not done in East Haven yet.
But you will be at the end of this month.
Yeah, I guess Sky's supposed to be there by the end of the month, but she hasn't been up in Newark for the past 2 weeks.
Well, she closed Newark last week because we didn't pick them up. I don't know about the week before.
Still could have picked up trash,
She could have, yeah, but I don't know what happened.
but that's another story.
Yeah. We were supposed to pick it up. I didn't find out till Monday that we didn't.
Right.
And there was another town that didn't get picked up too.
So there is, well, that's another story, another time to talk about that, and I'll let you get into that, we just want to know what this and that. She
Yeah.
was like, and just pop in, and just,
Yeah,
I mean, after all this time, it doesn't hurt to come look and
No, and if you ever have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to stop in or,
Yeah. we
you
do.
know, participate in a meeting or just ask, you know, it doesn't have to be in a meeting.
What about the monthly meetings? You said you have, what, are they like advertised, like how do we know when they are?
They're on our website.
Okay.
It's the second Tuesday of every month. Yeah. And a couple times a year, if we don't have a lot of business to transact, we just cancel them.
Okay,
So
Okay,
we generally have 10, maybe sometimes 9, but you know, and you can call and say, hey, are you having a meeting this month?
right,
We usually have the agendas and notes ahead of time from the Thursday before. So you get like 4 or 5 days to read over the
Right.
stuff and
okay,
you know, stuff like
excellent.
that.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Sure, yeah. Good to
Appreciate it.
see you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for stopping in.
Oh, yeah. we-
Neil, good to put a face to the name. I've
Yeah, I've
heard.
talked to you plenty of
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
We just wanted to come up and see what was going on after all, like I said, after all this time, and we wanted to. You know, you never know, I might be in it for another 50 years, you don't know.
Yeah.
I might as well keep my feet wet and.
Well, hopefully I won't be. I'm hoping to get done at the end of next year.
Mine, I hope I'm putting it up for sale pretty soon, we hope, and maybe he'll take it over.
Yeah, okay.
All right, thank you
Well,
very
good to
much.
see you guys.
Thank you,
Take it
thank you.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Hey, Nick.
Paul, anybody for the other the in person yet or
Well, Fred Harris and one of his employees stopped by. They just wanted to see what was going on. And
yeah,
they didn't really have any comments, but they stayed for 5 minutes and then left. So that's
perfect.
yeah. I'm just sitting here now. But
Yep.
I am recording, so
Yep. No, absolutely. I thought I had a chance I'd pop on early just to see if there's any action, but
nope.
well good.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
I don't know if you want to log out and come back in a half an hour, or it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I can just mute I can do shit. I can just mute myself for a little bit here.
Okay, and that's probably what I'll do then too.
Okay. Sounds good.
Kerwin, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, the full board meeting doesn't start till 6:30, and right now, we're in the public hearing portion for the budget. I don't know if you have any comments for that or
no,
no, okay. Nick is also on the call, but he's on mute, and I'm just gonna go back on mute. And I'll come back on in another 20-25 minutes and we'll start taking roll and all that stuff.
okay.
Okay, thanks. Paul, can you hear me? Paul, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I saw you sitting in the waiting room and it just says Paul, and I kept looking at that thinking, why is my
You-
name on there twice? And then it occurred to me that it could possibly be you. So
Yeah, yeah.
you've been logged on now for quite a while, right?
Um,
Or in
I
the
guess
waiting?
so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for. I guess it was in the waiting room. I was doing
Yeah,
other stuff. Yeah.
okay, good. Well, you didn't miss anything. I did have a couple people from Easy Trash show up right
Yeah.
at 5:30, and they sat down but didn't really have any comments on the budget. They were just more interested in the process. Um, I chatted briefly with them. It's on the recording if you're interested, but nothing really there.
That's no big deal.
And then they left at like 5:35. So
Okay.
um, I,
I
I'm
couldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't remember what started when. Honestly, I forgot if it was 5:30 for the meeting or the whatever. So.
yeah, the public hearing started at 5:30.
Okay.
It goes right up until 6:30.
Oh, right.
And right now there are other people on the call, but they're supervisors just waiting for the other meeting to start, and they're on
Okay.
mute. So I'm gonna mute myself again and just wait, you know, to see when more people log on, and I'll let them in, and we'll start taking roll closer to 6:30.
All right. I'll go grab a coffee then be back.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm very good.
Good.
You know, this technology crap, I'm getting better at it, but gee,
Just have to let you know that we are being recorded because we're still in the midst of the public hearing.
yep, it came over on my Zoom that I was being recorded, and I have to
Oh,
agree
okay.
agree to that.
I
So,
see. Okay. Yep. Um, so yeah, there are a couple others on the call. We did have two people from a small hauling company show up earlier, more curious about how the process worked. Didn't really have any budget specific questions. They stayed for about 5 minutes and then left. Um,
I thought your notes to the board were very comprehensive, and I mean, how can you argue with that kind of an increase per bag, you know? I
yeah, and
think,
I guess that's something that probably should have done, you know, ahead of time because when you put it in those terms, it's really not that big. And I think that's why some of the larger haulers don't jump up and down too much because they understand how that calculation, they're doing things like that all the time. And,
right.
I'm not sure some of the smaller haulers are.
Yep. I didn't like
Something we just talked about yesterday.
Yes. Nick,
who's on there.
that was Nick.
Oh, Nick, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't like Steve's from Gray's comments at the last public hearing that you had put into the notes. I didn't think that was very becoming of a board member.
Well, I mean, Steve's just being honest. So, um, and I answered as honestly as I could. So
Yep, you did.
I think Steve just logged on.
Good.
Steve, is that you?
It is.
Okay. Yeah, just to let you know, Steve, we are being recorded as part of the public hearing.
Correct.
Hi, Nick.
I had to unmute myself, Steve. Hi.
That's good.
Again, technical stuff. I was sitting here doing something else.
Yeah, that's all right. I just didn't formally say hi. So hi,
Yeah,
everybody.
not me neither. Hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. Christmas is now coming soon. I can't believe it. Jeez.
Barb, can you hear me? Barb? Barb, can you hear me? Shannon, I assume you can hear me.
How are you?
Good.
Is anyone there with you?
Jack Smith just showed up.
Okay, great.
So I have 7 towns. Barb represents the UTGs, but I can't hear her. And I don't know if she can hear us.
She is muted, so yeah, she's just unmuted herself.
I just unmuted myself. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Barb. And just so everybody knows, I did start the recording at 5:30 for the public hearing, so we're still being recorded.
Oh, Paul, and I already had read them obviously at the shop, but when I did look at the minutes, like when we were talking about some of the stuff attached, the minutes for the public hearing were it looked like they were tight. They were I don't know. It was all garbled up. If you look at the attachment, there was like letters and numbers mixed in there, and it didn't look right to me.
Might be a technology issue on your end. I haven't heard anybody else with those types of issues.
No, yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
did?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look within the written comments from Steve Gray specifically, it's like a bunch of characters.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping I wasn't going to be the only one. I assumed it was going
No,
to be every
yeah,
attachment. Yeah.
it is a little odd. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
That's
just like a bunch of characters that aren't in the alphabet or a different alphabet, maybe. I don't know.
I did italicize that so that it, would appear as a quote. So I don't know if that changed some of the
Well,
format.
can you see it? Like what we're referring to?
No, because I
Oh,
have it printed out and it's clean. Just
uh,
a regular Word document.
I guess I can't show my
And
screen. I don't know how
Michelle,
to, but
Michelle does convert those things to PDF before
it
she.
happened. Yeah. Here, I'll take a snip of it and
Hold your camera.
no, with the snipping tool. I
Ooh,
think I
that's
remember showing you this.
snipping tool.
The snipping tool. You
I
can take a
might.
picture of your screen. I'm pretty sure I remember showing you this because I love it. But I just put it into the chat, and if you click on it, it will enlarge, and you'll see um, how the text looks on our end.
Oh,
Yeah, it was weird.
So probably something in copying and pasting it to PDF, like, but even all the additional periods, like in between every word,
huh. Yeah.
is a little
Mine
odd.
certainly doesn't look like that. Um, well, so I made this mistake earlier. Paul Hayes from the Cal Rec was in the waiting room and I kept looking and I saw the name Paul and it didn't have his last name. So I'm like, why am I on here twice? And then finally I clicked on it and realized it was him and he's back now, it looks like. And you all can see Jack Smith.
Yep.
Okay. And Bill Douglas just joined us. Can you hear us, Bill? You are on mute.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Waste Management District, this is Paul. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Fine. That was weird. So someone identified as user just joined. Can you tell us who you are?
I think it might be Diana.
Diana, is that you? Showing up as user? Rick, can you hear me? Rick, you're on mute.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Anne, can you hear me? Anne, you're on mute as well.
Yeah, can you hear me, Paul?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. So, the person, under user, can you tell us who you are? Hi, Bob. Oh, okay. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. If for some reason I lose you, call me back. Hold on. Can you hear me, Bob? Okay, I'm gonna turn up the volume. Can you hear me now, Bob?
Sure can. Yeah.
Okay, so Bob Durgan from Morgan has joined us via telephone.
On my list, I have Morgan as vacant in both positions, so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna write his name in there. I'm not sure why it was taken off in the first place.
Paul, did you get me?
I did now, Fran, thank you.
And Irene's going to try and get you by phone.
Oh, well, that could be a problem because Bob Durgan is on the phone and
Yeah, but she doesn't, her internet has been down for almost a month. She's trying to change everything, and so she said possibly she'd come over here.
Okay,
So we're here anyway.
great.
Paul, I also think that the user, if they don't identify themselves, you need to take them out of the meeting.
Okay, so the person who's on under user, can you please identify yourself? Okay, we're gonna. We'll just put them back in the waiting room, I guess. Okay, Bobby, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes. Oh,
Oh, Bobby from Marshfield. Sorry, Bob.
no, that's right.
Okay, I like it. Okay.
Bobby, you're on mute.
What?
Oh,
Sorry, first time zooming with my phone. Yes, I can hear you.
okay. And Bob Sandberg, I heard you.
Right.
Who is 4875720?
That's Miriam.
To Westmore, Paul, Miriam.
Okay. So it's well, 6:29. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. There were no comments received. There were two individuals who did show up in person, but they were primarily just interested in seeing how the process went. When they realized nobody else was here or online, they stayed for 5 minutes and then left. Jake from Westfield, you can hear me?
Jake from Westfield?
Yes.
Here, yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. 5288, is that Walter?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Was Paulette going to join, Paul?
Pardon?
Did you hear from Paulette?
I did. And I thought she was going to be attending. Okay.
Because Dustin's gone, so I'm at Albany and Artsburg, but I think between me and her, I think we're just gonna have enough, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thought it said there was like 21 or something on.
I only have 16, but I'm trying to catch up. 279-1524.
That is Cabot.
Cabot. Okay. Betty?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I have 21 so far. So,
Okay. We're close.
and then there's Groton.
All right. Michael from Groton, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And Bruce from Brighton, can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Thank you. 6738. 6738. Who's that?
I have that as Irene on the list.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that's two people for Derby, and that only.
They only count as one. Yeah.
How come they only got one?
Because we need to have a quorum of the number of towns, not supervisors.
Another member here. A quorum beater.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So Jan Clausing just walked in.
That puts it at 23 on my list.
Okay. I guess we should take roll because I only have 21, but I'm sure I'm behind.
I'm so good at this. We're always off. So I think that's a good idea to just do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll call the roll. We are being recorded because I started the recording for the public hearing, but here we go. Albany.
Here.
Barnet.
Here.
Bloomfield. Brighton.
Here.
Brownington, Brunswick, Cabot,
Here.
Charleston, Concord, Corinth,
Yeah.
Danville,
Here.
Derby,
Here.
East Haven,
Here.
Glover, Granby, Greensboro, Groton,
Here.
Guildhall, Holland, Irisburg,
Here.
Jay, Kirby. Did someone pipe up from Kirby? I didn't think there was anybody. Okay, Lunenburg, Linden,
Here.
Maidstone, Marshfield,
Here.
Morgan,
Yes.
Newark,
Here.
Newberry,
Here.
Newport Town,
Here.
Norton, Peacham, Reigate, Sheffield,
Here.
Stannard, Sutton, Thompson, Troy,
Here.
UTG,
Here.
Victory, Waterford,
Here.
Westfield,
Here.
Westmore,
Here.
and Wheelock.
Here.
I have 23, and that's the number we need for a quorum.
Whew.
Right.
So Nick, if you want to take it from here.
Yep, we will call the Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 East Kingdom Waste Management District Board of Supervisors meeting to order. And we will skip down to Article 3 because the public hearing is closed at 6:30. Is there any updates to the agenda?
Paul, have you heard anything on the administrative rules being rewritten by the state?
No, and they're being rewritten by the League of Cities and Towns, but I haven't heard anything from them, but I will make a note to contact them. We'll put,
All right.
we'll put that under other business, if that's okay, Steve.
Sure.
Go to Article 4, the approval of the minutes of the October 8th, 2024 meeting.
I move that the minutes of October 8th be voted as required.
Second.
Been made and seconded. Is there any discussion, errors, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of the approval of the minutes for the October 8th, 2024 meeting signify by saying aye.
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 If there's any opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Paul, do we have to go over the minutes for the public hearing too, or no?
We don't have to, but if we do, it would be under the budget article, which is, a couple down yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there was minutes to that meeting too, so we can do that after then.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to Article 5, which is the truck lease.
So I know the board authorized us to enter into a lease. I just wanted to provide some information on the lease. Basically, the most important figures on there are the rate per month and the mileage rate. And it is a 60-month term, so 5 years. We will be looking at another lease for 2025, and I've started the paperwork moving on that. That lease is a little bit different in that it'll be a newer vehicle. And it'll have a 3-year term with the option to extend it at the end of the 3 years if we so choose to. So a little more flexibility with that lease. I think it's a little bit more, but you know, once we get further down that road, I'll present that to the board as well. Probably in January.
And we already approved that one, so I know it said vote required, but do we still need a vote for the truck lease?
I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if the board had all the information prior to that. I think I might have verbally relayed what the terms were, but that's why I included that in here. If someone wants to, you know, just tie up the loose ends, make a motion, I think it'll be cleaner that way.
What would you want that to? Because we only have $1 amount. You said the other one was a little bit more, so.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about the one that I gave the information for. So so for the one we have.
Okay. Would anybody entertain that motion?
We go ahead with the rider lease that you sent us the paperwork on.
Okay, and I guess if we could include the term, which would be 60 months.
60 months.
At a rate.
$1,875 a month, plus or with a mileage per mile of $10.10.
Everyone get that?
Yep. No, what was the monthly payment? Sorry.
1,875 per month. And a mileage rate of 10 cents a mile up, and it's up to 30,000.
Paul,
Jan has a question.
did you by any chance figure out or come up with what would be an estimated yearly cost on that vehicle?
Well, just the lease payment alone is going to be, well, we probably should get a second for the motion first.
I'll second it.
I was gonna say I thought I heard one, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay. So the lease itself is 22,500, and then it would be another $3,000 for the mileage if we hit 30,000 exactly. So
What do we normally drive in miles in a year's time?
well, the plan here is we will have 2 leased vehicles and we'll have one that we own. So if we approach 30,000 miles, we'll swap out with the one that we own to keep mileage off of the leased vehicles.
Yeah,
So,
and so the follow-up question would be that if you exceed the 30,000 miles per year, what does the rate then become?
I want to say it becomes 20, but I'm hopeful that we will not exceed that and you know, hopefully come in a couple thousand miles under that.
Okay.
Because we'll be able to track that from month to month and know, you know, if we're getting close.
Is there any more discussion? If there is no more discussion, then we can vote on the approval of the rider agreement thus far. And I believe that was at a term of 60 months for $1,875 per month, plus the 10 cents per mile up to 30,000 miles. All those in favor of approving the rider lease signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. We'll move to Article 6, which is the 2025 draft budget.
Yeah, so you know, the board took this up in October. We discussed it. We have had a couple of public hearings. I did include the notes from the last public hearing that was prior to the November meeting, along with a district response to some of those questions. I don't necessarily think that, anything in the budget would need to be changed based on those comments. The public hearing that was held earlier this evening, there were a couple individuals from Easy Trash who attended, but they were more curious about the process. They stayed for about 5 minutes. They showed up in person and then left without any questions. So I guess at this point, I would entertain a motion to approve the budget. Nick, Steve's got his hand up.
I can't see that on mine.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 2025 budget of $1,030,997.
Is there a second?
That motion. I'll second that motion. This is Anne from Troy.
Thank you, Ann. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Steve.
Number 14. I see that number 14, the legal fees still has 10,000, and I know 8,000 is for the search. Is that going to be separated?
I think we talked about doing that.
It could be a professional something, or
Yeah, we could clean that up before we send it to the towns. Because it would, yeah, and I can just put professional services.
And number 46, truck repair still doesn't have an amount in that. I know you said it was in the lease part, but
Yeah, we were gonna divide that up, Paul, because we're gonna go from the one truck for that, and then you didn't divide the lease out of that one. We did talk about that a couple months ago.
Yeah, I guess I'm not quite sure I'm following. We
46.
added a line item for the lease, and that includes 2 leases.
And then the truck repair for 46, you had said 2 months ago that was in there too. That's why it was $0, because even though we still have the Mac, we didn't appropriate any money for repairs.
So what are we proposing to do?
Nothing. You had said that it was all in the truck lease, but that if I remember correctly, you were going to take part of that money that was not part of the truck lease and put it back into 46, so we could keep our trucks separate.
Okay. So
because we'll have repairs on our own truck, and that doesn't include the truck lease.
Yeah, and I think what I'll do is I'll change 46 to 5,000, and I'll change the lease line item to 50. That work for everyone?
Yep. Do you have anything else, Steve?
But the only other thing I have is, of course, the overtime, and I mentioned this before about sending employees to bulky events. And I know in the past Nick has said that it's a benefit to towns. But also collecting styrofoam is a benefit to towns, and there's towns that aren't collecting styrofoam, so they should be allowed to collect it if we're going to send people to bulky events. And we're just going to have to find a way to process it. And that's why I think it'd be better off to have our employees, instead of going to bulky events, to be in the warehouse and get overtime that way by bailing up materials or styrofoam.
Well, we have to send At least what, one to a bulky event?
Yeah, usually we just send one person. Sometimes they'll take time off during the day. Not all the overtime is for attending bulky events.
Right.
In fact, a very small portion of that is.
But you can do the same thing and have them in the warehouse baling material, which would be more profitable, more for profit for the district than going to a bulky event.
Well, again, though, Steve, is there not always, you know, you have one truck and one employee to go to a bulky event on a Saturday. Typically, they're on the weekend. I don't really think that they're going to have, you know, one person in there processing alone, are you, Paul?
Typically, no, especially
Right.
home because it requires two people.
So I don't really think that we have. I don't really think that that's an issue. Having him go to bulky events, Steve, doesn't have anything to do with the overtime with doing stuff on Saturday. And that's already accounted for, Paul. Like you said, I mean, I don't know if you have exactly off the top of your head what it is, what percentage it is for bulky events, but I'm sure it's pretty minute.
Right, and actually, we'll be doing less, two less bulky events because Danville is now collecting or will be collecting bulkies at their facility on an ongoing basis. So that's two less events that we'll actually be doing.
Perfect.
That's it.
Any more discussion on the proposed budget? Was there anything that you wanted to know on the because we're on the budget, Paul, about the note or the minutes for the public hearing on the budget?
No, not unless anybody has any questions. You know, I sent the comments out from the previous public hearing. And I responded, you know, to them so that the board could see. There's, you know, nothing, like I said, nothing that I see would warrant any changes in the budget as it's been presented. And there were no comments received earlier this evening.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions?
Well,
Jan has a question.
Yeah, and this relates to the haulers question about the raise in their rates, and you said that the average cost of like a bag is like 7 cents.
Yes.
And it occurred to me that that was based on like a 50-pound bag. And I'm just thinking, like, based on probably my own experience, I don't know about anybody else, but the fact that you no longer put food scraps in your trash really lowers the weight of a bag tremendously.
It does. And if you lower the weight of the bag in that calculation, the impact from an increase decreases.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I
like
wanted
50
to
50 pounds a bag is like, wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, but I wanted to use kind of the worst case scenario so someone couldn't come back and say, well, that bag weight isn't accurate. That's actually an
It's
estimate
above
from EPA, but you know, most bags are probably around 20 or 30 pounds at the most.
The state average for Vermont's 30 pounds. So like I said, we're above, so I mean the impact is actually, you know, even less than, like Paul said, it's not even as much as what we put in there. But I'm glad he put it in there because it gives everybody an idea of the, you know, it's not that big of an impact. Any other discussion? If there is none, I'd take a motion to approve the 2025 draft budget.
Well, the motion's already been on the motion in a second. It's call the
Never
vote.
mind.
Second.
Sorry. No, it's already on there. So all those in favor of the approval of the draft budget that's already been put forth for the $1,030,997, you can signify by saying aye.
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 If there's any opposed, nay.
I'll vote no.
The ayes have it. We'll go to Article 7, which is the compost contract.
So the request for proposal was put out, probably a month or so ago. And only one organization responded, and that was the incumbent Clouds Path. And I believe I included a copy of their proposal in the minutes. There's really nothing that looks like it's changing. That's their proposal. The contract will look a little bit different, but it'll look almost identical to their existing contract. I haven't drafted that yet, but I intend on doing it. If it had been a different contractor, I probably would have,
Okay.
thought of doing that to, formalize it. But since it's the same contractor, it's just a matter of changing the dates. Oh, and and pricing. The pricing is going up $1.50 per tote. And that's the first increase that they've had in quite some time.
What that makes it, I believe, what is that, $16 a tote now?
No, $11.50.
Oh, $11.50. Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was $10 for quite a number of years. The contamination policy is a little more aggressive, but the reason for that is they found some pretty nasty things in some of the compost totes. And Corey Rayner is, contacting the offending sites and trying to get them to, clean that up. So, and we're working with the contractor. They identify the tote. We have a tracking sheet that tells you if you have the tote number, where it came from, what week it was picked up. So it's a pretty decent process for us to be able to go back to a particular site and say, look, we found whatever in the compost, please keep a closer eye on it. And the instances that have been kind of gross are few and far between, but they're pretty egregious. So I won't get into the details, but we are working with the towns and the contractor to try and limit that in the future.
And that is actually a really good price that we're not going to get anywhere else. So I'm sure that's probably why nobody's bidding on it.
Jan, you had a question?
Yes. Do we presently have anybody besides Cloud Path that is picking up food scraps for us?
Not for us, but there are at least 3 others in our region picking up food scraps.
Any other questions on the compost contract?
So, I guess I would entertain a motion to accept their proposal.
That's what I was getting for. So would anybody like to make that motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Shannon, are you comfortable with wording that appropriately?
I think, I don't know. How should I word it? Now you should tell me. Go ahead and tell me.
I would just say a motion is made to accept the proposal from Clouds Path for compost services.
That's basically what I put in, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And
Steve?
that's for the whole district?
What happens, Steve, is we pick up compost from a number of different facilities, not all of them. Some towns have contracted with other providers of the service, but all of the toters that we pick up on a weekly or every other week basis are brought here to Lindenville, and the contract then is for servicing those toters. The toters we pick up, and then of course the ones that are generated here at the facility.
Got it.
Perfect.
Oh, is that for 1 year or?
It's a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options for renewal. We actually put it out to bid after the 3rd year rather than doing the automatic renewals, just because we thought, we probably should. And, we don't have to, but next time it comes up, maybe the board will want to weigh in on whether or not to extend it or put it out to bid again.
Any other discussion? Compost contract? Perfect. All those in favor of approving the compost contract with Clouds Path Farm, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Article 8, which is the line of credit renewal. And we've gone over that already. That's basically just the yearly renewal of our, what is it, 25? How much is that line?
It's a $40,000 line of credit. We are actually the rate proposal compared to last year is actually down like 0.85%. So, and I know some people have mentioned, putting this out to bid. We don't always use it, and it's pretty convenient to seek a line of credit from our existing bank so that, we can do all those transactions electronically. And because the rate went down, I didn't really see the need to put it out to bid.
Agreed.
I'll make a motion that we approve the line of credit for next year for 40,000 at 5.03%.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
The bank being,
Sorry.
Pasumsic?
Yes.
I second that
Thank
motion.
you. Okay.
So it's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the line of credit renewal? Hearing none, all those in favor of the line of credit renewal for $40,000, and I believe that was at 5.03?
Yes.
Correct.
Signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Article 9, which would be the skid steer payment authorization.
Yeah, so these funds come out of the capital improvement fund, and anything pulled out of there is subject to the board approval. And the dollar amount was in the notes. This is a smaller payment than what we will end up paying next year, and it's because we took the trade-in value for the other piece of equipment and applied it to this year's payment. So it's less than it's about a third of what we'll end up paying next year, which I pointed out in the notes.
I move that we go ahead and do that. This is Jake from Westfield.
Steve, did you want a second?
I'll second that, but I also have a question on line item 45, equipment repairs, skid steer. Year to date, we spent $11,492 repair. Is this on the new skid steer?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know we put tires on it, but the tires wouldn't have cost $11,000.
Oh, it was a 383% increase, which is what caught my
Yeah.
eye.
I know the tires were very expensive, but I don't think trying to think of what else we would have had done, because we took the bucket off of the old one. The machine isn't quite a year old yet. I'll have to look into that and see what that was.
Was some of that the old machine? The repair?
It may have been, because we didn't get the new machine until mid-January. It might have even been February.
And they did do a bunch of work on it prior to us trading, getting rid of it.
They did, because then they came back and said, "Oh, it's going to be this much more," and we're like, "Oh, let's just cut our losses."
Yeah, I think that's what it is now that I remember, because that's once we had that cracked boom with where the pin was, it was gonna be like another 15,000. It was some stupid number where it was almost cheaper to buy a new one, or almost the same money.
But I'll look into that. And it does, well, let's under updates, I do have something else I want to point out regarding something that came up a couple meetings ago related to the budget.
But we got a motion on the floor with a second. So is there any more discussion on the skid steer payment authorization? All those in favor of the skid steer payment authorization? And did you have a number on that, Paul? Because I can't find it now.
It's 6,000 and change.
6,880.
Yeah.
And
8,880.
And 8 cents.
And 8 cents. Thank you very much. So 6,880 and 8 cents. And you can signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. And then you can get into updates, Paul.
Okay, so a couple months ago, we were talking about and Steve Gray, I believe you brought this up. There was a $4,200 discrepancy in the capital improvement fund or the per capita fund. And that 4,200 was used in the previous year to start the health insurance program. So, that's where the hole came from. And I don't know if anybody else remembers that discussion, but it's something that came up, I want to say, in the September meeting even, and just wanted to follow up with that. As far as our finances go, we're in pretty good shape for the end of the year. And I suspect that we'll end December in pretty good shape as well. Does anyone have any question about the finances?
Yes, Westmore has a question, Paul.
Yes, Mary.
The money that's being spent for the per capita tax, is that still being forwarded to funding healthcare?
Yes.
Health insurance?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know there was some discussion about using it otherwise, but that's the way it was intended from the start, and we're still maintaining with that policy, correct?
That's correct. I will tell you that we we kept the per capita rate fixed. Because we had some money left over from the previous year, and because of the increase in health insurance, we're going to dip into that, and we can still keep the per capita, at I think it's $1.16 for 2025, but I would certainly anticipate an increase in that to fund the health insurance in 2026. That's a year out.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Oh, any other questions about finances? So, as far as the executive director search goes, I did send out a kind of a summary, I guess. A timeline for the replacement, and I've been able to update the position description. I've had it reviewed by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. I'm still working on a binder with tasks that I could hand over, and also trying to reach out to a consultant to get some advice on how to recruit for the position. And then the timeline, I guess once I reach out to a consultant, probably tighten the timeline a little bit. But I feel pretty confident with the amount of time assigned to each of the tasks. The big question is, are we going to get anybody qualified and willing to, come to the Northeast Kingdom if they're not already here?
Paul, I had a chamber meeting today, and there is actually a lady there that does some consulting stuff. They actually just moved somebody from Arizona to Vermont to take over in a similar role as what you would for probably about similar money. That might be on the higher spectrum of where we are, but so we might want to think about looking nationally, because there are a lot of people that are actually looking to relocate, which I did not think of up until today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how I ended up here.
Right.
I don't necessarily anticipate that we'll get someone local, but I do know Lamoille was fortunate that they replaced their director and they did find someone local. So you just never know. But I think certainly we will have a broad net cast for potential candidates. Any questions on that? I think at the January meeting, what I'd like to do is establish for lack of a better term, a recruitment committee. And I have spoken with the former director from Lamoille, and she said that she might be willing to serve on that committee. And I think her input would be invaluable because she just went through the process looking for her replacement. So,
Sorry, Paul, who was it? Sharon?
It was Susan Alexander.
Oh, Susan herself was? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I heard you say something about Lamoille, but I was reading down through this. I didn't.
Oh, okay. What was I going to say now? Lost my train of thought, but it could be the executive committee. It might not have to be the entire executive committee, though. I think a small committee of maybe 4 or 5 at the most might be appropriate. It's going to really be up to the board. And, what I see is this committee reviewing potential applicants, eventually interviewing. I'm hoping that the consulting firm that I reach out to will help develop interview questions and also provide a certain level of pre-screening so that, some of the heavy lifting is done by people not affiliated with the board, unless the board wants to be more involved. But I think that's why we need to form a committee and put this on the agenda as a regular agenda item for January so that the board can openly discuss how they want to move forward with this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to, I mean, I know myself, I want to be obviously involved in that, but do you want to have people email you if they're interested in being on that committee, or how do you want to?
Oh, yeah, if anyone's interested, yeah, I think that would be helpful. Steve?
You can put my name on that list.
Okay.
And Paul, this is Walter. You can put my name on the list.
Okay. Yeah, then, so other folks on the meeting tonight on the call, give it some thought. And if you are interested, just shoot me an email. And again, I'll put it on the agenda for January so that we can, focus a little more attention on it. That's all I really have for updates. I know Steve mentioned administrative rules from the league. We were in the process of updating our administrative rules, and the league said, oh, hold on. We hope to have those by the end of 2024. Here we are, the end of 2024, and I haven't heard anything from them. So I can follow up with them, see where they're at, and report back at the January meeting.
I know. I just want to add. I appreciate all the work, Paul, you guys have done getting the budget and getting stuff ready. I know. Right now, I think even with I saw some of the minutes and some of the testimony that was given, and I do want to just say that given the current status in that area with raises and money and what's going on around that, I think that we've done a good job keeping it, even though the increases and some of that look like it's high. It's actually, I would say, fairly low. So I think if our employees are happy where they are, I think you guys have done a good job keeping that adequate. But I know on our end, it's very costly to find somebody with a CDL. So I think you guys have done a good job so far. So I applaud you for that.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the next order of business is the ever popular motion to adjourn.
Well, actually, is there any other business? Just in case.
What do people think about some in-person meetings in 25? You don't have to decide tonight, but maybe just think about it and we can talk about it in January, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we usually have that's usually part of January. We'll try to figure out. I think we try to do one in the summer and one before budget, the annual.
For 1,600, please.
Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, I think our annual meeting is scheduled for April. We had an in-person meeting, I believe, this past April, and then I think September we had another in-person meeting. So, unless anybody feels strongly about
I would like to change your.
changing any of that,
You would have to leave if you're
feel
right.
free to bring it up at a meeting.
Related to the word.
I mean, I think for now we can just maybe put it on January and let everybody sit on it and see. But I think doing it, having the two that we had last year I think that worked well. I know everybody's busy, so.
And hopefully we can get the place next door.
Right. Did Irene or Francis? Somebody popped up quick, but I couldn't hear what they said. I think they're on mute. I think it's Francine.
Fran, you're on mute.
Okay, there. I think an in-person meeting a couple of times a year is really good. We need to meet. It makes us more coherent and together and know each other. I really am in favor of at least meeting twice a year together. I don't know when you want to do it, but you know, I am in favor of these meetings are great. But if it's something really important, we really do need to get together and discuss things.
Thank you, Fran. Steve?
Yes, I have an elderly dog that's in a wheelchair. He needs to go out. So I'm just saying Merry Christmas to everybody, and I'm leaving the meeting.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Thank you, Steve.
Merry
Well,
Christmas.
So I would say that we should move to adjourn before we lose anybody.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Just
Thank you all.
One quick thing, I'm looking at the chat, and Daryl Martin from Holland asked any more information concerning styrofoam. Daryl, the only update I have is we're still not ready to add additional towns. You know, we'll see how we get through this holiday season and probably reevaluate it in February.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys all. Have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All the good
Merry
stuff.
Christmas, everyone. Yeah.
Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas.
everyone.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Have a good night.
Very good.
Good night.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Paul. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
And be careful on the way home tonight.